Hello. Right, I appreciate that I am really overexposed at the moment. I can't seem to fix it. There you go. If I do that, it won't stay like this. I'm filming on my phone for a change, and it just keeps automatically fixing itself, which is very annoying. Hello. Okay, still good. Right. Um, I I was sat here stitching away, and I was fretting away to myself, thinking how I wanted to make a video for this channel, and I hadn't done for a little while. Or I kind of want to aim for one a week, so I think it's been more like 2 weeks since the last one. And I was thinking, I really want more time so that I can make a video. And then it occurred to me that I could be making a video right now. There's literally no reason not to. Sometimes I get into my head like this, and I start to think that I need certain things before I can do something, and sometimes I have to remove all that by going, just do it. Just do it. Done is better than perfect and all of that. I would rather have a scrappy, rambly video up and keep myself in the momentum than just keep on telling myself, no, I can't do it because I haven't got my camera ready, or I haven't got the perfect spot, or I haven't prepared for it. That's not what this channel is about. This channel is for me to just show up and be creative and all of the things. So here we are. Not overexposed at the moment. That might happen again in a minute. Still a bit scrappy. I'm going to be very rambly. I am quite tired, so words are going to be difficult. Whenever I'm overtired, I just forget. It's like my brain just wipes mid-sentence. It's very annoying. But we shall persevere. And what I thought we would do today is just have essentially like a podcast episode. You don't even have to be watching this. I kind of hope for your sake that you're not, because it's just going to be my face doing this for as long as I fancy chatting, which is quite boring. But a podcast, you can just let it run in the background. And I also had a bit of an epiphany, and that is over on the main channel where I talk all things running a handmade business. I've got the Coffee and Craft podcast, which it doesn't really feel like a good fit for that channel anymore because there's very little crafting about it. When I first started it, it was a chance to show people my crafts and, you know, my works in progress and stuff like that. And I started doing it less and less, and now the crafting is almost non-existent on there. The coffee is still there because coffee is life. There's never one far away from me. But yeah, the crafting part is just a bit non-existent, which seems really sad because I miss it. So I thought I would rename that podcast to something else, no idea what yet. And then I would introduce a podcast onto this channel. This video will be a part of that. And I will call that the Coffee and Craft podcast because it's a better fit here. So there you go. Another excuse to just sit down and make a video. Also just another excuse to sit down and chat. Let's be brutally honest. So, what have we all been up to since I last rocked up here? And what was I showing you? My t-shirt, I think, with the sunflowers. As you can see, ever so slightly obsessed. But I can't grow them where I live. And I used to grow them every single year and have done since I was in my early 20s. We had an attic flat years ago when I lived in Bath in England. And for those who are unaware of Bath, it's a city. It's a very small city, but it is a city. And a lot of the buildings there are grade 2 listed. So you can't change them a huge amount, or at least not the outside of a lot of them. And we used to have an attic flat in a street that was essentially a huge row of houses that kind of curved around. And the attic was where the servants used to live. And there was this, it was officially the guttering, so obviously the water would run down off the roofs and fall into this, and it would, you know, trickle down the gutters. But it was also wide enough for people to walk along, and it had like a little stone wall thing to stop people from toppling to their deaths in the street below. And we had one of these on either side of the flat, and on the back side of the flat I decided it would be a great place to grow sunflowers. It actually was. Bath wasn't very windy, so even though we were quite high up, they stayed put. And I wasn't the only resident along the street who kind of used it as a bit of a balcony for plants. I don't think we were supposed to. That's anyway. So if you were walking down the street below, you could look up and see a flat with sunflowers outside the window. And ever since then, I'd grown sunflowers every year. Even when we moved back to Wales, which is where I'm from originally, the first year when we were renting, I was able to plant sunflowers in the garden, and they were the biggest I'd ever grown. I was very happy with them. And then we bought this house, top of the hill, top of the hills. Goodness me. My ears pop every time I drive into town because we go down and then they pop again on the way up. I'm not sure why I'm telling you that. There you go. A little bit of information you didn't need and didn't ask for, but you've got it anyway. Anyway, I grew sunflowers here, or at least I tried, and I soon found out that anything that the slugs wouldn't get, the wind would definitely just scoff at my plans. So now I just stitch them. In fact, if you want to get an idea of how windy it can get, it's a very windy day today. And what's quite funny is that we received a weather warning on our weather app saying that it was going to be strong winds up here today and tomorrow. And it is currently windy, but it's regular wind. It always tickles me when I get a weather warning on the Met weather app, and then I look out the window and I think this is normal. This is the sort of interesting information that you can find when you come to this channel. We have a word for it in this house. We call it shinfo. It's short for information. That was my husband's idea, by the way. But yes, if one of us just sort of randomly comes out with something that's not very interesting, like chatting about the wind, the other person goes, shinfo. It's not much of a chat if you don't talk about the weather in the UK. I'm still not too washed out. Shall I sit back? There you go. I don't know. But yes, I don't drink tea. So I kind of have to do something stereotypically British, otherwise somebody will come a knocking and take away my passport or something. Like I said, I don't grow sunflowers anymore, I stitch them. This is, I hope, going to be a project bag. You see, this is why I need to start using my new camera. I bought a new camera and I don't use it for videos. Mainly because I'm so scared of using it. I need to get over that because there was no bloody point in sinking that much money into something if I'm not going to use it. But at least it will mean I'll be able to get up closer with objects to the camera. But yes, I've gone for autumnal rusty orange, and then I thought sunflowers would be a nice pop. It looks really washed out in this. It looks better in real life. Trust me. I put a picture of it over on Instagram if you're interested and would like a closer look. And I've got some other designs, especially for autumn as well. I've got some toadstools. I've done one on some brown woolen tweed fabric. Did I mention that in my last video? Basically, I had this huge amount of woolen tweed that I was going to make a jacket out of years ago. I never managed to get around to it. I think I was a bit put off by the fact that it was a little bit rough to the touch, and I just thought I'm not going to enjoy wearing this because I'm a bit of a princess when it comes to like touch on my skin. I can't wear anything made out of mohair. This jumper is so soft. I've got joggers on because comfort is key. It doesn't always look very nice, but it's key. But it's such beautiful fabric that I didn't want to get rid of it. I didn't want to sell it. I wanted to find the right project. And I've literally just taken it from house to house with me when we've moved. And I thought, it's time. It is time to make something with this and put it out into the world and let people love it. So I'm making some project bags with it. And yes, there's some toadstools on that. And I went a little bit crazy with the French knots in the design, but you know what? I don't care. I love French knots. French knots. Yeah, I've even got French knots there. They work very well for the middle of sunflowers. And I'm also going to dye up some green fabric and do some more toadstools on that, because I think that would be a nice colour combo as well. And I've got a Halloween design that I can't wait to. It sounds so strange. I sound like a goose. I cannot wait to stitch up. It's just a silly thing, a very simple design. I don't want to share it just yet. I want it to be a surprise. I am going to, no doubt I'll make a video about it and I'll show you. But I'm excited to get cracking with that one. I'm going to use some of my glow-in-the-dark thread again. I've gone washed out. You know what? It stays. And hey, it gets rid of the eye bags. You can kind of still see that one, but that one's disappeared, so I'll take it. And I know it might seem a bit early in the season to be talking about making sort of autumn stuff, but I mean, it's July. We're about mid-July now at the time of filming. I've already sold 2 autumn items from my shop, even though it's just midsummer. This is why small business owners start early, because customers start early. You have to, otherwise you end up losing a buttload on sales. So I'm actually a little bit behind, believe it or not, because straight after working on the autumn stuff, I have to start working on the Christmas stuff. But I don't want to jump ahead and think too much about that. I don't know if anybody else, if you have a business and you have to do this, and if you have this problem, but I really struggle with getting my head into the right frame of mind to be working on seasonal stuff that we're not in, and also stay grounded in the season that we are currently in and enjoy it while it's here. So I can either be in one season. I know this sounds very dramatic, but at the moment I'm thinking about autumn. So I'm thinking about autumn colours, and I find myself starting to crave the fire being on, because obviously we don't use it at this time of year, but in the winter time when it gets colder, I want fires on and the curtains closed and fairy lights on and hot chocolates and all of the things. You don't want to be doing that in the middle of summer, or you don't want to sort of be focused on that so much that you forget that you're in summer and you miss it. And let's be honest, here in the UK, you blink and you miss it. So last month, June, was hot. Officially hot. It was heatwave hot. And so far this month, July, has been the complete opposite. It has been a complete washout, which means mud and slugs and grey and slugs. Because of where I live, they're everywhere. We're surrounded by fields, so they're not just in the garden. They're huge things. I don't like them. You know how some people don't like spiders? I actually quite like spiders. I don't have a problem with them, which is just as well, because my daughter and my husband are petrified of them, so I'm the spider person who picks them up and takes them outside. Slugs, however, they're just pointless. What is the point of slugs? What point do they have in the whole ecosystem? Do they have a purpose other than to eat everything they're not supposed to eat and just be squelchy little bastards that leave slug slime trails everywhere? And they get into my kitchen. We have bought a very old house in the middle of the Welsh countryside. I love it. So much of it reminds me of the houses that I used to live in or visit as a kid. But when you're an adult living in a house like this, it just feels like you're constantly putting out fires. There's always something. I say fires, that's ironic because it's usually damp or slugs. And they do. They get into my kitchen, and you walk down the stairs in the morning, you go into the kitchen, and you just see the slime trails on the floor. And it's like, normal people don't have to deal with this. And if they're there, if I come down early enough, they are. First of all, ew, that I've got jars. I have a jar collection because I'm that person. And sometimes I have to get the manky jars, you know, the jars that you use for, you know, paint pots and stuff like that. We get the manky jars, and I have to put them over the slugs on the floor, and then Dan will deal with them when he comes down. And he knows exactly what it is. If he just sees a jar randomly in the middle of the floor, he knows exactly what he has to do. Ugh. It's oh no. I might even take out this part of this chat because I don't know how we got onto the subject of it, but it's gross. Anyway, slugs. Ugh. And they used to eat my sunflowers as well, so another reason not to like them. Let's move on from the topic of slugs, shall we? But my point is, I do struggle with staying in the right frame of mind for wanting to make products in a season that we are not in, like autumn stuff, while at the same time making sure that I soak up the best of the season that we are currently in. I think I'm starting to see how we ended up onto the topic of slugs, because the weather is not sunny. The weather is not summer. However, next week is the last week of the school term, meaning that it will then be the summer holidays, and it will be the perfect time to soak up summer. So I'm hoping that I can do that and get the autumn stuff done and find a balance there. Weather permitting, because I don't know, if it keeps on raining the way it has been, it's going to be very easy to imagine that it's autumn and just summer will just be a washout. I do hope not. But me and my daughter have a bit of a tradition, and that is that we put a summer bucket list together, and some of the things that we put on there year on year is the same. So one of the things that she wants to do is to go and have a chippy dinner on the prom and watch the sunset. Well, either a chippy dinner, or she said she wants to get Domino's pizza and have it on the beach, but we're not sure. But obviously that depends on whether or not we're going to have a nice sunny evening to watch the sunset, because we see it up here and it is beautiful. But I tell you, there is nothing beats watching the sunset on the horizon of the sea. That is, oh, we shall see if we can catch a summer sunset. And if you follow me on Instagram, you know, if I catch a sunset, I will be posting it on the grid because I'm obsessed. I'm not sure anybody else is, but it's my grid, so Sodom. And another petal is done. I hate this light. I hate it. It doesn't do it justice. But I am getting there. I am getting there. So the last project bag drop that I did, I did pre-orders for it because it was, speaking of sunsets, they were hand painted sunset bags with some of my favourite quotes embroidered on them. Quotes like, "A year from now you'll be glad you started," and "It's okay to rest." That's like me trying to remind me that I need to sometimes chill the F out and sit down and rest a bit. Doesn't always work though. In fact, I ended up making myself one this pink and lilac-y one. This was based off a sunset that we saw up here, which, oh, I should have been in town for that one to watch that dip down by the sea. That must have been beautiful. But it was beautiful up here, and I made some bags out of it. But I did pre-orders for those because painting up the bags is such a long-winded process that I didn't want to risk making a load of bags that wouldn't sell. And I wasn't sure, because I made 4 different designs and I wasn't sure which ones would sell and which ones wouldn't. Turns out 2 of them sold really, really well, that one being one of them, and then 2 of them didn't sell at all. So it was good that I did it that way. That being said, I don't think I will have that same problem with these designs. So I'm going to make some of these up in advance. I'm not going to be doing pre-orders. I've got 5, enough to do 5 of these bags. Whether or not I will stitch up 5 in advance, I don't know. I might just stitch up 2 of each and then see how we go. But the idea was to come up with some designs that were relatively easy for me to do and quick. I say quick. Hand embroidery isn't quick. I wish. But something that I could sit down and something that would keep me out of trouble, because I do love embroidery. It's just one of the few things that will actually calm my mind and sorry, I had to focus on what I was doing there, which was, if you weren't watching, I've got my thread and I just needed to cut myself some. That's what you're hearing in the background. I'm just putting down scissors and the like. Yellow is one of the colours. Yellow, brown and green are the colours that I run out of the most, which is, unsurprisingly, there's 2 of my favourite colours right there, green and yellow. I have a lot of green and yellow jumpers, and I remember someone saying, do you wear yellow jumpers in your videos on purpose? And it was like, no. I just wear yellow jumper. I like the colour. I don't have the time to worry about what bloody colour jumper I wear. Good grief. But it is just such a happy colour, especially when on days like today it's so grey outside, and in the winter time when the light is so weak as well and the days are so short. Here in the UK, you really do need a little bit of something to get you through. And for me, that's fairy lights, candles, the wood burner when it's cold enough, and the colour yellow. I think as I get older, I'm just learning that it's more and more important to just embrace the things that you love, no matter how silly other people think they are. And don't worry, this is not going to become a big D&D chat like in my last video, but such as D&D, you know, I think there was a weird part of me at one point that thought I was too old to play it. Don't ask. I know some of you are going to be like, Kim, why? Why did you think? I don't know. I don't know. Internalized patriarchy. I don't know. There does seem to be this feeling that once you hit a certain age, you're too old for a lot of things. You're too old to dress a certain way. You're too old to do certain things. And it does get to the point where if you internalize that enough, it starts to translate as you're too old to do anything that you enjoy. Life has to become serious and you have to grow up. And to be fair, maybe that's not internalized patriarchy. I think that could be the same for everyone, regardless of who they are. I don't want to grow up. I mean, I am. I've got the wrinkles. I've got a permanent frown line there that if I do that, there's still a line on my skin. It's just always there. These are my happy lines, my laughter lines, and that's my what the line. And then, of course, I've got the grey hair coming in, not nearly as fast as I would like, because I like them. I know some people really don't. But I don't know if mine are breaking or if they just never seem to get very long. They just seem to like do that thing where they just stick up randomly. I want long, luscious, grey, white hair. But my hair has other plans. My point is, the older I get, the more I think that it's more important to embrace the things that you enjoy fully, wholeheartedly. So like if I suddenly woke up tomorrow and thought, you know what, I want to cosplay. I want to cosplay the hell out of my life. From now on, I just want to dress up as other things. That's not what I want to do. But if it was, I'd start doing it. To hell with age and people not understanding it and all the rest of it, because, not to get too deep, but I mean, we're not guaranteed another life after this one. That's the one thing about death. Nobody knows what happens, and it's quite likely that nothing happens. This might be it, folks. Didn't mean to get all heavy on you there, but it's worth remembering. This might be all there is, and we're not guaranteed a full life. I could, the proverbial bus could get me tomorrow. I don't know. So I might as well embrace the things that make me happy while I'm here, providing they don't hurt anybody. So I'm playing more. I'm wearing more bloody yellow. And yeah, just doing stuff I enjoy. And don't worry, responsibility and all of that adulting stuff, it gets you anyway. There's no getting away from it. So I adult plenty. I pay taxes and I have to do the washing up. I don't have to do the washing up. That's Dan's chore, and we have a dishwasher. I have to do the laundry. There you go. I have to take that Muttley out. I don't know if you can see him. This is a podcast. There you are. There he is. Here we are. That's not his name. His name's Charlie. Why is it whenever we have pets, we end up giving them names that are nothing like their actual names? His actual name is Charlie Fox. How did Weewar come about? I have no idea. I think it was Dan. Dan usually comes up with the random names. Weewar. He keeps looking at me every time I say it. He knows his name. He's got loads of them. Charlie, Charlie Fox, Charlie Selsig, which is Welsh for sausage. Potato, Muttley. Oh, I've said all of your names, so you've come to say hello. He's a bit nervous of the wind. He doesn't like wind because he's actually only partially sighted. He's got a cataract on one eye and we think another one developing on the other. He's still got a fair amount of sight, but it's more to do with light. So at night time, he can't see us as well. And yeah, the wind scares him because he doesn't know what it is. And he thinks, you think people are out there. You think something's out there that's coming to get you. You're so cute. You're also such a pain in the neck. So there we are then. I have had nothing really to chat about. I do promise that the next time I do one of these podcast episodes, I will have something planned to talk about in advance. This has been more a case of trying to wait. The dog is getting all tangled up with stuff. This has been me trying to just sort of jump back into the habit so that I don't forget, or I don't get out of the habit, really. It's the funny thing about making YouTube videos. If you stay doing it consistently, it gets easier and easier and easier, and it becomes second nature. You stop and you realise that there's actually a knack to it and a flow, and you just sort of lose that. And I'm determined not to lose that on this channel. So that's what this is. Don't you start huffing. He's trying to use his indoor bark to get my attention. You have my attention. I'm just trying to finish what I'm doing there, Charlie. All right, this might be a good time actually to finish up. Because someone, I think you want to go outside, don't you? Yes, and to be fair, I did say your name about that. times in 1,000 ways. Okay, if you've made it this far, thank you very much, and I will see you soon for a better video. Good God, his breath stink. He's got some of the cat food from that smell, because your breath smells fishy. Stinky boy. Right, I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.